Elon Musk had done hundreds of interviews. He was no stranger to tough questions. Whether it was about the future of Tesla, colonizing Mars, or the dangers of artificial intelligence, he had faced them all with confidence. But tonight was different. The billionaire tech visionary had agreed to appear on the Future Hour with Ethan Winters, expecting to discuss space exploration and upcoming technological advancements. Instead, he found himself caught in a discussion that left him speechless. A single question changed everything. The studio lights shone brightly, illuminating the modern, futuristic set of the Future Hour. A massive screen behind them displayed a high-resolution image of the cosmos, a fitting backdrop for a conversation with a man obsessed with space. Ethan Winters, the host, adjusted his tie and leaned forward slightly. He was known for his sharp, engaging interview style, always pressing for deeper insights. The audience was eager, expecting yet another intellectual showdown about the future of AI, Mars colonization, or Tesla's latest innovations. But then Ethan asked a question no one saw coming. "Elon, do you believe in God?" A noticeable silence fell over the studio. Elon blinked. He shifted in his chair. This was not a question he had anticipated. He let out a soft chuckle, running a hand through his hair, clearly buying himself time to think. "Well, that's an interesting question." The audience chuckled, sensing his hesitation. Ethan, ever the skilled interviewer, didn't let up. "I think it's one of the most important questions of all time," he said, his voice steady. Elon sighed, leaning back slightly. He wasn't uncomfortable, just deep in thought. "I wasn't raised with strong religious beliefs," he admitted. "I was taught to question things, to seek logic and evidence. But," he paused, his blue-gray eyes flickering with contemplation, "I wouldn't call myself an atheist either. The universe is vast, complex, and full of mysteries. If by God you mean a higher intelligence behind the laws of physics, then yes, I think there's something." A murmur spread through the audience. This wasn't the dismissive response they had expected. Ethan leaned in, sensing an opportunity. "Have you ever had a moment where you felt something beyond science?" Musk exhaled slowly. "There was one night when I felt something I couldn't explain," he admitted. The room went still. It was during the toughest days of Tesla. We were on the brink of collapse. I had invested everything, my money, my energy, my sanity. I was completely exhausted, and it felt like I had failed. That night I walked outside, staring at the sky. It was completely silent, just me and the stars. His voice grew softer, and in that moment I felt something. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't an image. Just a presence, a feeling that I wasn't alone, that there was something greater than me, something beyond my understanding. Ethan observed him carefully. "And did that moment change you?" Elon let out a soft chuckle. "It didn't suddenly make me religious, if that's what you're asking. But it made me wonder, maybe faith isn't about knowing. Maybe it's about embracing the unknown." The audience sat in silence, completely captivated. They weren't just listening to Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur. They were seeing a man who, for a moment, had stood at the edge of his own existence and felt something bigger than himself. Ethan cleared his throat, breaking the silence. "Many scientists dismiss religion outright. Do you think faith and science can coexist?" Musk tilted his head, considering the question. "I think they have to. Science explains how things work. Faith asks why. You can believe in evolution and still wonder if something set it all in motion." Ethan nodded. "But what about suffering? If there is a higher power, why do bad things happen?" Musk's face darkened slightly. "That's the hardest question," he admitted. "If a divine being exists, why allow suffering, war, disease, death? It's difficult to reconcile." He sighed before continuing. "But suffering also forces us to grow. It pushes us to innovate, to care for each other. Maybe the question isn't why suffering exists, but rather how we respond to it." Ethan leaned back, clearly intrigued. "That almost sounds spiritual." Musk smirked. "Maybe it is, or maybe it's just physics at work. Either way, the reality is the same. We have a choice. We can let suffering define us, or we can rise above it." Ethan leaned forward, his voice softer now. almost personal. Do you ever pray? Elon Musk let out a small chuckle, shaking his head slightly as if amused by the question. He hesitated for a moment, his fingers tapping lightly on the armrest of his chair. The audience leaned in, sensing that something deeper was about to be revealed. Not in the traditional sense, he admitted finally. His tone was thoughtful, measured. But when I'm at my lowest, when everything feels like it's collapsing around me, I do find myself asking for something. He paused, his blue-gray eyes flickering with something unspoken. Maybe it's just my subconscious, or maybe it's something more. A silence settled over the studio, not the kind that made people uncomfortable, but the kind that made them think. Ethan, ever the intuitive interviewer, didn't let the moment slip away. If you could ask God one question, what would it be? Elon exhaled slowly. This wasn't the kind of question he could answer with data or logic. He looked down for a moment, lost in thought. Then with a quiet certainty, he said, I'd ask, what's next? The simplicity of his response carried weight. It wasn't just about the next big innovation or the next step for humanity. It was a question about life itself, about the unknown that awaits us all. A few soft chuckles rippled through the audience, but they quickly faded. The moment wasn't funny, it was profound. Ethan studied him for a beat. Then in a voice barely above a whisper, he asked, and what do you think the answer would be? Elon smirked, not the usual confident grin, but something smaller, almost wistful. I don't know, he said, his voice carrying the hint of a smile. And that's the fun part, isn't it? The conversation had started with uncertainty, but somehow it ended on something else: hope. Elon Musk's unexpected responses in this interview do more than just entertain. They challenge us to think deeply about the nature of belief, purpose, and the intersection of science and faith. He didn't deny the idea of a higher intelligence, nor did he fully embrace it. Instead, he offered something even more thought-provoking: the possibility that the universe itself is a mystery beyond human comprehension, one that neither science nor faith alone can fully explain. Faith and science may not be enemies, but two sets of the same coin. Musk acknowledges that science explains the how, while faith often seeks to answer the why. If the laws of physics guide the universe, does that mean there's no room for something or someone who set those laws into motion? Or is it possible that belief in a higher power is simply a psychological comfort in the face of the unknown? Suffering, as Musk puts it, forces innovation and progress. If hardships shape humanity, does that mean adversity has a purpose? Or is suffering just an unfortunate byproduct of an indifferent universe? His words make us question, do we give meaning to our struggles, or does meaning already exist? And finally, the biggest question of all, can science ever replace faith? If one day we truly understand the origins of the universe, will belief in a higher power fade away? Or will there always be mysteries beyond the reach of human logic? Musk himself admits that he doesn't have all the answers. And maybe that's the most important takeaway from this conversation, that life isn't about certainty. It's about asking questions, embracing the unknown, and constantly seeking truth. So now the question turns to you. As science continues to push the boundaries of human understanding, unraveling the secrets of the cosmos, decoding the building blocks of life, and even exploring the very nature of consciousness, will there still be room for faith? Will the mysteries that once inspired belief in a higher power slowly be replaced by equations and theories, leaving no space for the unknown? Or is faith something deeper, something woven into the fabric of human nature itself? Have you ever experienced a moment so powerful, so full of love and kindness, that it made you stop and wonder if something greater was at work? Maybe your story will be the insight that inspires someone else. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and share. It only takes a moment, but kindness, just like faith, has a way of spreading further than we can ever imagine.